you.
That's my attorney.
He must pay you a lot by the hour.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Allison Nugent is suing her former neighbor, Stephen Langford, for vet bills and hospital bills after Stephen allegedly hit her dog with his truck.
Order. All rise. Yes, case number 262 on the calendar in the matter of Nugent versus Langford.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
We're going to start out with you, Mr. Langford. Who do you live with?
I live with my son.
And how old is he?
17.
What does he do?
He just goes to school.
In what state do you live?
Rhode Island.
Your son have a driver's license?
Yes, he does.
It is your claim, Miss Nugent, that the defendant hit your dog.
Yes.
Injured your dog.
Fatally, yes.
And after he hit your dog with his truck, your dog, in a panic when you went to get the dog bit you severely on the hands.
Yes.
Both you had medical bills and there were substantial vet bills, and you're suing to have those bills recouped from Mr. Langford in the amount of $900. Here has anything to do with pain and suffering. It's all bills.
Just the bills.
It's bills. Do you live in your own home or do you rent, sir?
I own my own home.
Do you have homeowner's insurance?
Yes.
Now,
I didn't hit her dog.
Just a second.
I didn't hit her dog.
Listen to me.
I didn't hit her dog.
Listen to me. I want you not to say anything until I ask you anything. Do you understand?
The dog's in the road every day.
Just listen to me. I want you not to say anything until I ask you something. I want you to read over very carefully your answer, which is what you swore to. Would you pass this over to Mr. Langford? Read it.
I'm not saying it. I'm not even run the dog over.
Just a second. I just asked you to read it. I didn't ask you anything. You have your dog walking off leash. You're on your way home, and you see
a truck coming towards me.
Yes.
The dog immediately went to the far side of the road. I waved my arms to let the driver know, we're here, please stop. The driver slowed down, but never stopped. I came around the side and went to get my dog just in time to see the truck slowly drive. The dog was screaming. I was screaming. The driver never stopped, never slowed down further, never even tapped.
Tonight at closed captioning is provided by
Fact. You won't find the brand pharmacists recommend most for cold and flu relief at the shelf. Advil Cold and Sinus is only behind the pharmacy counter. Ask your pharmacist for fast, powerful Advil Cold and Sinus. Relief doesn't get any better than this.
There's moving, and there's moving with Move Free Ultra. It has triple action support for your joints, cartilage, and bones. And unlike the big Osteo Biflex pills, it's all in one tiny pill. Move Free Ultra. Get your move on.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Allison Nugent is accusing her former neighbor, Stephen Langford, of running over her dog with his pickup truck. Stephen denies the charge.
Now, what's your name, sir?
Seth Perlmutter.
He must pay you a lot by the hour.
He's got a very successful business.
What does that got to do with anything?
He must pay you
I didn't kill the dog.
By the hour because he's difficult. And he's his own worst enemy.
I'm difficult because I'm right. I am 100% right. I did not kill her dog. Every day the dog's in the road.
Mr. Langford, your problem, sir, is...
Because I'm being accused of something I didn't do.
Maybe your son did it.
Maybe my son did it. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I didn't do it.
Well, listen to me. I'm telling you, either way, you're not responsible. She's responsible. Either way, what?
Judge, there was an investigation. The police, after this happened, the plaintiff called the police. They went to Mr. Langford's home, which is right on this road. They lifted this car up, this truck. I should point out to you that there are 4 other exact vehicles on this road, 4 of the trucks.
Mr. Perlmutter, you don't have to go any further, sir. I have not heard anything that suggests to me that the fault of whatever happened on that night in March lies anywhere other than with the plaintiff. I don't care who was driving the truck. What I'm telling you is whether he was driving the truck, his son was driving the truck, another neighbor was driving the truck.
I can clear that up for you, Judge.
That's not unclear to me. It's her fault.
But when
I'm going to dismiss her case, Mr. Perlmutter. Why do you want to go any further?
I don't, Judge.
Perfect.
I learned a long time ago.
Your fault.
Your Honor.
Your fault you got hurt. Your fault the dog got hurt. Your fault.
Here, showing that Mr. Langford did, in fact, lie, and also it is a crime.
I'm believing you. I'm believing everything you just testified to today. I'm believing everything that you just testified to today. You have no case against the person who hit your dog. Zero case. You were walking your dog at night, off leash. You went, waved the car to say, I'm here. The car slowed down. There's no suggestion that the car was speeding. There's no suggestion that the person who was driving the car was intoxicated, was under the influence of drugs. Nothing. Your fault, your responsibility. It's nobody else's responsibility. I'm believing everything you told me.
It is a violation, and a summons was issued. There is a duty to stop in accidents resulting in death and injury of domesticated animals.
Listen to me carefully. That's if you can prove that the person knew that they hit your animal. And you have not established that to me.
The dog was screaming, and I was screaming.
Your case is dismissed. Accept responsibility. It's your fault that you chose to take your dog out unleashed where you're walking in the road, and the fact that unfortunately your dog was hit and you were at fault. I'm the first one to say to a driver who's speeding and would hit a leashed dog and not stop, your fault. You chose to put your animal at risk. It's your fault. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You may step out.
No dog belongs in a road.
I am pleased that the whole world got to see what a jerk this guy is.
I feel terrible. I bought her flowers.
He was taking the blame, but it was really his son.
Keep your dogs in your yard where they belong.
Beware of your neighbors.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lampton versus Trotter. Step forward.
24-year-old Alyssa Lampton is suing fellow motorist Angelica Trotter for running into her in a parking lot.
Ms. Lampton, it is your claim that the defendant hit your car in a parking lot. You were backing out of a parking space.
Yes.
She was coming down the road.
Yes.
Somebody have a photograph of this parking lot?
I do have a video.
I'd like to take a look at it. Is that a video of the accident?
Yes.
Just tell me the date that it took place.
It took place July 16th of this year.
And I assume both of you have insurance?
Yes. Yes.
And had insurance at the time of the accident?
Yes, I did.
Fine. What do you think, Miss Trotter?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She neither attempted to honk the horn or stop.
Let me explain something to you.
She was
I've
pushing
seen the
me. She
video.
had a lot of tin on her window. She
telling
probably
you.
couldn't see me.
Hey, listen.
Tennessee Lee went to Illinois.
I don't have to listen.
You were in Indiana.
I don't have to listen anymore.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alyssa Lampton says fellow motorist Angelica Trotter owes for an accident in a parking lot. Angelica claims the accident was Alyssa's fault.
Now, the truth of the matter is that sort of stuff happens all the time.
Right.
Usually the car that's backing out is supposed to stop because the car that's going down the road has the right of way. But the car that's coming down the road is, since they know that cars come in and out, should also not be going too fast.
Well, I was going the
Let's play it again and see how fast you were going. That's pretty fast. Anybody want to say anything? I am absolutely prepared to make a judgment. I love videos.
All I want to say is a car could have been covered if it was insured. Our insurance attempted to make a claim or whatever the case may be, and we got a letter here stating that on that day in question,
May I see it?
It was not insured.
May I see? So your insurance company tried.
Well, yeah, because you know we weren't
get the
given
damage.
tickets. We weren't given tickets, so we didn't know who was at fault. But we were going to try to get the cars fixed.
Okay, so her insurance is Progressive, and they were unable to find Any?
No, her insurance was
My
Progressive.
insurance is Progressive.
That's Progressive sending us that letter stating that she wasn't insured. It said there was no coverage.
Your Honor, I have verification for my insurance.
I
I
wanna
have
see-
liability insurance.
Hmm?
I had liability insurance for my car.
This doesn't tell me that on the date of this incident, on July 16th, that your car was insured.
It says specifically when I had my insurance from April, and it ends at October 6th. When I got into the car accident, I knew I had liability insurance, which would mean that was an $1,000 deductible that I can't pay.
Well, you have to pay. The accident was partially your fault. The accident was at least 50% your fault.
I don't think it was my fault at all.
Well, I don't care what you think. I just saw it. And I'm telling you, what you have to do very, very slowly, because the car that's going down the road has the right of way. So you're supposed to pull out very, very slowly. Now, I saw how you were pulling out, and I don't know what kind of car you were driving. Some cars have those televisions so that you can see when you're pulling out. I have that in one car. I got used to using it too, by the way. But I have one where it's an old car, and you have to creep out of a parking space until you are clear.
Your Honor, and I do understand that. I was parked between two cars, and I did slowly come out. And she neither attempted to honk the horn or stop. I didn't.
Let me explain something to you. I've seen the video.
And she was also on the phone.
I've seen the video. I've seen the video.
She had a lot of tin on her
I'm
window. She
telling
probably
you.
couldn't see me.
Hey, listen.
I
don't have to listen.
You were in Indiana.
I don't have to listen anymore. Did you have damage to your car?
Yes, I did. And we had to fix it.
And you fixed it? Mm-hmm. Did you have damage to your car?
Yes.
Did you fix it?
No.
You should. Just a second.
If I was at fault, and let's say I did see her, am I supposed to hurry up and drive back into my spot to let her come? And not only that, but there's pedestrians and visitors and patients that come in the parking lot.
This, to me, is better than any statement that you could give or any statement that she can give. Do you understand? I think that this accident resulted as a result of both of you being at fault. That's comparative negligence. Okay. That's what I find. I find each of you is responsible for damage.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
How much damage was done to your car?
It took about $400.
Not about.
It was $400 to get it fixed.
And how much was the damage to your car?
If my deductible would have covered it, I would have been covered for over $6,441.
Just a second. But you had insurance, you said, with a $1,000 deductible.
Yes.
Great.
The blue book on her car is $7,000. It cost $6,000 to get a $7,000
Listen,
car.
I don't care. That's not what we're... Not what we're talking about.
All right.
She has the capability to fix her car if she wants to with her insurance. She said she has a $1,000 deductible. Now, do you have evidence to show me that you paid $400 to have your car
I don't
fixed?
have that with me.
All right. Well, if you don't have that with you, this was the time to bring it.
Yeah.
So you're out of rate. She's going to pay you $500. The rest you pay. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
A fight was the final straw.
I asked him to get his belongings and leave my home. At that time,
Your Honor.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
I'll take care of my own courtroom.
Next Judge Judy.
She hit me while she was on the phone.
Oh, no, I wasn't on the phone.
When she got out the car to apologize, she said, I'm so sorry, but you were coming out too fast while she was on the phone.
When I seen what happened, I grabbed the phone, getting out.
To not speed down a hospital parking lot and talking on the phone while driving.
Maybe she should get some of that tint off her window and she can see the next time.
What prompted you to go on his Facebook page?
I think I liked a picture or something.
Instant attraction leads to sudden death.
She offered to give me $800 because she wanted to pursue me. I happened to be more handsome than an average person.
Listen to me. This is not an audition, and I have the job.
Judge Judy.
I don't want to hear anything cute coming out of your mouth.
Okay.
The only cute comments are the ones that I make.
are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 23-year-old Octavia Walker is suing her former friend, Tristan Bradford, for an unpaid loan to help him pay his bills.
Order. All rise. Yes, case number 226 on the calendar in the matter of Walker versus Bradford.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Okay. You say that you loaned Mr. Bradford some money. He says that it was never a loan, but you did, in fact, give him some money. It was a gift. You met him on Facebook. So first, I'm curious, because I really don't know. How do you meet a stranger on Facebook? The only thing I know about Facebook is there's an official Judge Judy Facebook page. So I put in on my iPad, Judge Judy Facebook, and I go on and I see people talk to each other and they comment on things, which is all very nice. But I wouldn't begin to know how you meet somebody on Facebook.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say meet then. He just wrote me on Facebook.
How does he write you? Mr. Bradford, please stop laughing. Please. Okay. How do you get her name?
She thought I was a fake Facebook page, which most people do think I am a fake Facebook page just because I happen to be more handsome than the average.
This is not an audition, and I have the job.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you are is you are a litigant. I don't want to hear anything cute coming out of your mouth.
Okay.
The only cute comments are the ones that I make. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I've been here for 20 years.
Gotcha.
Because I don't want you to have my job.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So she thought you had a fake Facebook page.
Which...
Had you ever physically met her other than on Facebook?
No, ma'am. That is the reason that we met.
Okay, so you had a Facebook page that she went on?
Yes.
So you went on his Facebook page. What prompted you to go on his Facebook page?
Okay, I think I liked a picture or something like that, like the status or a picture, and that's when he inboxed me like, hey, you know, and went from there just on a friend type level. He didn't come to me disrespectful or anything like that.
You both live in the same city?
Yes.
So you sort of congregate around people who live in the same area when you're trolling the internet, right?
Yes.
And so you first made this connection in what month?
When I checked my Facebook page, it was April.
Beginning of April, middle of April, end of April?
And
at what period of time did Mr. Bradford ask you for money?
The next month.
May. Had you physically meet before he asked you for money?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you meet?
He actually came to my house the first time we met.
Big mistake.
Negative.
Where did you meet?
I came to her cousin's house. It was supposed to be a get-together.
Cousin's house?
Yes, and I never asked her for any money she offered.
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute, Mr. Bradford.
Yes, Judy.
So glad that you said that, by the way.
Yes.
So you met at her cousin's house. How many times did you see her, Mr. Bradford, before she gave you money?
Maybe 4 or 5 times. Within a week, she offered to give me $800.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bradford, this is what I'm asking you. I have a pretty good long-term memory. My short-term memory isn't what it should be, but my long-term memory is intact. So I do actually remember dating. I know that we were riding horse and buggy at that time, but I remember the dating period. I remember going out with people 3 or 4 times and stuff. And I never remember just offering, would you like $100 or $800? It's not that I didn't give people money, but it was usually in response to, gee, I'm in a bind. I'm short on money for bills. Do you understand?
Yes.
It doesn't come out of the blue. What comes out of the blue is if somebody sneezes, you say, God bless you, right? And if it's a long fall. That's natural. What's not natural is, here's $800 in case you want it. Do you understand?
Would you like...
So there had to be, are you following me, sir?
Yeah,
There had to be some precipitating conversation for this woman to give you money after she had only seen you 4 times. So why don't you tell me about the conversation?
Well, the first day that I came over her cousin's house, she liked me off the flip.
Don't tell me what she thought in her brain.
I'm telling you facts.
No, you're not. You can't tell me what's going on in her brain. You don't want me to discuss facts, do you, Mr. Bradford? There are certain facts that are here today that you wouldn't like me to discuss because they might be embarrassing to you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that why don't you just tell me what the conversation was that inspired her to give you $800?
Okay. She told me she liked me off the flip.
Off the what?
Right away. She liked me right away.
She told me. You're not really an unintelligent person.
Very intelligent.
You're not unintelligent.
Very intelligent.
You're just unschooled.
No,
You're just unschooled because if you're in court in a place where you're not talking to one of your friends in the schoolyard, you wouldn't say off the which is. Do you understand?
I got you,
so you're trying to be cute, and I told you that's a no-no here. Now, so she told you that she liked you right away.
Right away.
Good. I know we're going to work well together, Mr. Bradford.
Okay.
Now,
she
told you she liked you right away. And?
Okay, as time went on, we got to conversating. She wanted to know about me.
Conversating?
Yes.
You got to conversating?
About life.
Yes, go ahead.
And she asked about my life, and I told her, I was kind of in a jam.
Why were you in a jam?
I just
with all those good looks and being so well coiffed. Do you know what that means? Well coiffed?
No, I never heard that word.
Coiffed is your hair. Being so good looking and so well coiffed. Now you want to continue? So she told you you were all good looking, and what else?
And she offered me, I tell her, yeah, I'm in a bind,
Why were you in a bind, Mr. Bradford?
Because I recently got unemployed, so until then.
What kind of work were you doing?
Trucking for FedEx.
That's a very good company.
Yeah.
And they're a very prosperous company, so I haven't heard any big layoffs from FedEx.
No, my dad passed 3 months ago, so I took off and took care of him until he passed away.
How long had you worked for them?
It was within a year. It wasn't more than a year.
Well, how much less than a year?
Probably 8-7 months. I chose to take care of my father until he passed. So now...
FedEx.
I actually want to say in April 2015.
And when did you take money from Miss Walker?
I received money from her after she offered it in probably June. And she gave me the money because she wanted to pursue me. She even bought me groceries and called me here and there telling me, did you want something to eat? And even offered me more money after she gave me the $800 that I did turn down.
Who were you living with, Mr. Bradford, in May of 2015?
Myself.
Where? In an apartment?
Yes, in an apartment.
How long have you lived in that apartment?
2 years.
What's the rent?
$520.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
3 little sisters.
How old?
We stair steps. I'm 26, so it goes down from there.
I'm waiting.
26, 25, 24, 23.
And where do your sisters live?
Actually, one stays in the same apartment complex, and 2 other ones stays in separate apartment complexes.
Close to you?
Yeah.
What do they do? They're all adults. What do they do for a living?
One works at a daycare. The other one, I think she works at Family Dollar. Mm-hmm. And my middle sister, she's a stripper.
Now, can you tell me why they elected you to quit your job at FedEx instead of your sister quitting her job, maybe, and going to take care of your father?
Well, I'm the only boy, so I'm more close to him than since I was 4.
So he's not your real father?
But he is.
Well, either he is or he isn't.
He's not my blood.
Well, is he your sister's blood?
No.
No. Okay. You have proof that you gave him $800?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. Here's the first two. And I also have a bank statement if you want to see it.
I would like to see the bank statement.
Okay. It's kind of like a screenshot because there's no service in here to show her the whole effect, so I hope they can do something.
How much did you have in your savings account altogether when you gave him the $800?
I want to say I had about $1,000 in there at the time.
Who do you live with, Miss Walker?
I stay with my mother.
And you work?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you work for?
AT&T call center.
How long have you worked for them?
I've been there for 4 weeks now.
Before there, where did you work?
At Kathy's Kitchen, which I was a waitress.
Okay. You know, sometimes you get served in a restaurant, big platter, and on the platter there are radishes and cucumbers and a salad and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes there are peppers on it. You say to yourself, you know, I know what everything else tastes like, but I'm not sure about this pepper. I'm not sure if it's a real hot pepper or if it's a smart girl. You maybe take a little tiny taste of that pepper. Right? Yes, say, you know what? This is not for me.
Yes, ma'am.
You look like a nice lady. Don't be a bum magnet. You know what that is?
No, can you explain it to me?
A bum magnet.
Bum
magnet. Somebody who knows somebody for a week and asks them for money.
Okay.
That's a bum.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't see any evidence in front of you, sir.
Actually...
Just a second. I don't see a photograph. Is it hiding in a pocket?
No, it's not in the pocket.
Okay. Do you have it anywhere?
It's outside of the building in the sewer.
And later today...
I said, excuse me, you just hit my car. And he said, what do you want me to do about it? Then he continued to tell me it was my fault because I parked there, and it was a completely street legal parking spot.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Octavia Walker says former friend Tristan Bradford owes for a loan to pay bills. Tristan is countersuing, claiming Octavia vandalized his car.
According to what I read, you were lending him money because you thought you had a special thing with him, and he was trolling around, looking elsewhere, you know, trying to find a better pepper.
Yes, ma'am. This was okay.
So, trying to make something out of yourself, and he's a wise guy. A wise guy without a job. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. Thank you very much. That's all. Oh, by the way, you have a counterclaim. You say that the plaintiff poured alcohol on your car or some sort of something?
Yes.
Yes. I don't see any evidence in front of you, sir. I don't see a photograph. Is it hiding in your pocket?
Actually...
Just a second. I don't see a photograph. Is it hiding in a pocket?
No, it's not in the pocket.
Okay. Do you have it anywhere?
It's outside of the building in the sewer. I dropped my phone getting out of the car.
Oh. Do you have an estimate to have it fixed?
Yeah, I have an estimate.
I'm willing to see it.
It's in the phone again.
So would it surprise you, Mr. Bradford, to know that I couldn't help you on your counterclaim?
No, it doesn't surprise me.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Yeah, she was trying to pursue me, and I told her I had a girlfriend.
He was just a friend. He made it seem like it was more than what it really was.
And then when she found out that it was true, she acted crazy.
It was kind of obvious, but he was still denying it, so...
She got away looking innocent, but I'm still going to be happy and have fun.
That's something that she has to deal with. I mean, I wouldn't want to be with somebody that don't claim me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter.
19-year-old Kelsey Stoddard is suing her former neighbor, Roy Smith, for damage to her car caused when a broken door fell on it.
Ms. Stoddard, on the 29th of May of this year, how long had you had your car?
It was actually June 1st of this year. I got my car on the 29th of this year.
So this incident didn't happen on May 29th. It happened on June 1st?
Yes.
All right. And what were you doing on that day, sir?
I was moving out furniture to the side of the yard to be picked up for a trash removal.
What kind of furniture?
Couches, bed frames, beds, refrigerator.
You were moving them out of whose house?
I was renting a house on Gentry, and I was moving them out to the curb to be picked up for a big, large trash removal.
So this was trash?
This is trash, yes.
Had you made arrangements for that trash removal?
Yes.
Okay, when were they coming?
They were coming the next day.
On the 2nd of June?
Yeah.
And according to you, Ms. Stoddard, your car was scratched when something that Mr. Smith had put out for trash hit a panel of your new car. You want him to be responsible for fixing it?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you, as best as you can, to draw me a word picture so that I understand exactly what happened.
So on that morning, I was leaving for school. And
do you live on the same street?
Yes, I lived across the street from him when he did live there. And so I was walking across the trash out too.
Okay, so your car was parked there first?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I got in my car and I checked if I had all my school supplies, and then I heard a thud against my car, and I thought, oh, okay, so I got out.
So you hadn't moved your car yet?
No.
Okay, so you heard a thud against your car, and?
So I got out, and I saw that he was lifting up a broken door that fell against my car, and...
A door from where, sir?
The door had been replaced weeks earlier, and I'd taken it out to the side yard there. I'd laid it flat on the ground, but the gardener had propped it up against a bush, and it was been there before she had parked there. It was there already.
That doesn't matter. Okay, so, but you hadn't moved your car.
As a correction, the door was not there when I parked there the night prior.
When you parked there the day before?
There was no trash there when I parked there the night prior to this.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She'd come up and say, you scratched my car, it's my fault, whatever. And it's like, well, let me look at the damage. I looked at it. It was so minor, I didn't even bother taking a picture of it. I figured,
minor?
Okay, whatever.
You know, one man's trash, sir, is another man's treasure.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kelsey Stoddard says former neighbor Roy Smith owes for damaging her car when his personal property...
Like, did you?
Yeah, I did.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Your Honor,
Don't do that.
sorry.
Do you have a picture of all the trash that he put out?
I'm not sure if this has more to it, but it might have a bit. I was just more focused on taking pictures.
It does. Well, actually, this shows me better, so... Okay, I got it. How big of a scratch was there on your car?
It wasn't that big of a scratch. It was probably a couple inches, but when I took the car to get estimates, they told me that they would have to take off the whole door frame in order to repair it.
Can I see your estimate?
I took 2 estimates. The first one has a wrong date on it. I took this estimate a few weeks ago because he has the original one.
Did Mr. Smith come out? Was he there?
He was there at the incident. He lifted the door up when it fell, and then he attempted to walk away. And I said, "Excuse me, you just hit my car." And he said, "What do you want me to do about it?" And I said, "Can I have your insurance card, your ID, something?" So he gave me his identification and whatnot. Then he continued to tell me it was my fault because I parked there, and it was a completely street legal. And I had to hand over his identification card to his son because he walked away at this point. And that was about it for the incident.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Well, she's wrong about the door not being there. It was there. It had been there for days. I was hauling out a couch. My son was helping me to carry a couch out. And when we were moving out the couch, we walked past the door. It fell over against her car. I eventually pulled it back up away from the car and continued to move the couch and set it down. And she come up and say, "You scratched my car, it's my fault," whatever. And it's like, well, let me look at the damage. I looked at it. It was so minor, I didn't even bother taking a picture of it. I figured,
minor,
okay, whatever.
You know, one man's trash, sir, is another man's treasure.
Sure, I understand that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
If you had a car for one day and somebody, due to their negligence, damaged your car, even if it was a 2-inch scratch, it would be irritating to you if the person treated it as it was a non-event.
Yes.
Which you did. You treated it as a non-event.
Well, I didn't knock over the door. It wasn't my fault.
Just a second. It was your fault. Either you or someone working under your control didn't move. Your door moved.
Yes.
And your door moved at the moment that you and your son were moving furniture all around the door. So it's not the car's fault. The car didn't hop up on the curb. So I can understand her being annoyed because you treated the incident and her as if the incident and she were irrelevant, and that's not nice. So you owe her the lesser of the 2 estimates, which is $350, to get the scratch fixed, which you should have done immediately. Said, I'm sorry, my bad, not yours, and I'll take care of it. That's all. We're done here.
Thank you so much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
$11,000 to do the work. I did the job perfect.
It was going to be more money than what you originally quoted her.
Correct.
That's why you put it in a contract. Right now, it just looks sleazy.
Judge Judy.
I was on my way to my last final, and
Just one of those things that just happened, and it was an accident.
this was the last thing I needed, honestly.
But is it my fault? I guess she says it is.
It was 2 days old, and
She came with an $800.
what I expected to happen.
It's like, come on. I felt like I was being extorted.
To treat people with respect.
Stuff happens. I don't know.
A fight was the final straw.
I asked him to get his belongings and leave my home. At that time,
Your Honor.
excuse me, I'm talking.
I'll take care of my own courtroom.
But his exit wasn't the end of the story.
You purchased a truck in your name.
Correct.
And he took the truck with him.
Yes.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am, that's not correct.
I'm probably going to say some very unkind things to you. Then we're going to tell who the liar is.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Tammy Nagel is suing her ex-boyfriend, Gordon Schuster, for payments on a truck that's in her name and for destruction of property.
Order. All rise. It's case number 245 on the calendar in the matter of Nagel versus Schuster.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Nagel, give me the dates that you and Mr. Schuster were living together.
March 2013 to February, my home.
Is it a rental or is it an
I own my home.
And how were the finances divided up when Mr. Schuster lived with you?
He would contribute weekly to household bills.
In any fixed amount?
Normally it was $200 a week.
Is that correct, Mr. Schuster?
No, ma'am.
Well, how would the household bills be split?
It was originally agreed $200 a week, and then a couple weeks after we'd started that agreement, I was paying anywhere from $800 to $1,000 a week.
So let's say it was at least $200 a week.
Yeah.
What kind of work were you doing?
I'm a welder, a fitter.
And what kind of work do you do?
I would work at a graphics company. We do litigation, visual evidence.
Continuously for the same company since 2013?
I've actually been at the company since 2009. I was there 15 years.
Okay. This has to do with some truck payments. And according to you, you purchased a truck in your name.
Correct.
There was a note on the truck that had to be paid every month.
Yes.
According to you, despite the fact that the truck was in your name, the truck actually belonged to Mr. Schuster. And when he left, which was in February of this year, he took the truck with him and stopped making any payments on it.
Yes.
Tell me how he took the truck with him. Tell me about that day when he left the house.
It was February. We went to dinner. We got in a heated argument at dinner. He was being extremely loud at the restaurant, completely embarrassed me, so we left. When we got to the house, argument, and I asked him to get his belongings and leave my home. At that time, excuse me, I'm talking.
I'm going to...
Sorry, Your Honor.
Have a turn. And I'll take care of my own courtroom.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
At that time, he went into the bedroom to gather his personal belongings, and he destroyed my personal property, which I have pictures of, Your Honor. I've got...
Keep going. Keep going. We're on the truck.
On the truck. Well, the day he threw his clothes in his truck and he left.
No, just a second.
In his truck.
So he got his belongings and he left. And when he got his belongings, listen to me. I'm going to come to you, but don't annoy me with the hand. He got his belongings, and according to you, he put the belongings in the truck.
Correct.
And he left with the truck.
Correct.
And that was on February?
February 11th.
Did he ever return the truck to you?
No.
He always kept the truck?
Correct.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am, it's not correct.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I actually owned a...
No. Listen to me. When you left on the 11th of February, did you take the truck?
No, ma'am, I did not take the truck.
What did you take?
I took my Jeep.
Was the Jeep parked at her house?
Yes, it was parked at her house.
Was the Jeep in your name?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you still have the Jeep?
I do not have the Jeep. I actually sold it.
When?
2 months ago.
To whom?
To a friend of mine.
What did you buy?
I bought another truck.
What kind?
It's a Dodge Durango.
New or used? Yeah. And was there any other word regarding the truck?
She told me to leave. The truck, it was in her name. I made the payments on it, but it was actually her truck, so I left her truck. I couldn't drive two vehicles.
Well, it's not that you couldn't drive two vehicles. If you left under circumstances that were as described by the plaintiff, you would be crazy to take her truck.
Absolutely.
A truck that was in her name.
Yes.
Because you'd be pulled over by the police for stealing property that didn't belong to you. So you would have been nuts to do that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Under these circumstances. Now, what happened to the truck?
Well, first of all, Your Honor, he did not sell his Jeep. He actually had traded in the Jeep, which I have evidence of that, at the dealership when we got the truck.
Okay. I'd like to take a look at that.
Okay, this is the Jeep he's talking about. That was the trade-in value on the day I put the vehicle in my name.
What kind of a Jeep did you have, sir?
That Jeep, I believe, was a 99 Jeep Cherokee. That Jeep was actually traded in. I thought you were referring to the Jeep that I drove away February 11th.
That was a different Jeep?
Yes, two different vehicles.
When did you purchase that Jeep?
That Jeep I purchased a year after I had traded that Jeep in.
From whom?
Just an individual.
If I give you time, Mr. Schuster, could I tell you how you can do that? Because I assume when you bought the second Jeep, okay, a year afterwards, you had that Jeep insured.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
So this is going to resolve this case very quickly for me. I have two distinct stories. Story is that he drove away in the truck. You say I had my own Jeep and I drove away in the Jeep. Because what this is about is you want money that you paid on the truck. that you had to pay in monthly payments that you said was his car. So if Mr. Schuster can establish, which should be very easy, even through DMV, which they can get in a minute, that he had a second Jeep, because you produced this document, Ms. Nagel, to show me that he's lying, that he traded in that Jeep in order to buy the truck. Correct. He says, you know very well that I bought a second Jeep a year later. So what kind of proof can you get to me, Mr. Schuster, that you owned that Jeep?
I don't have proof, Your Honor.
Well, what kind of proof can you get to me? You have time. What kind of proof can you get to me?
I can't get any proof of that time, of that Jeep.
Well, then, Mr. Schuster, I have to assume that you're lying to me that you ever owned a second Jeep, because I couldn't get information with regard to cars that I've owned within a year or 18 months. That's it. Want time to get it from the Department of Motor Vehicles, Mr. Schuster?
Your Honor, I've had several vehicles.
No. That's not. Listen, we understand exactly what the issue is. Exactly what the issue is. Either I'm probably going to say some very unkind things to you, because you can't both be telling the same story. So either you had a second car other than the truck that you left with on the evening of February 11th, or you didn't. February 11th of 2015, within the last 6 months. That's real easy. So one of you is lying. And I'm willing to give you as much time as you need to get me proof that you left the plaintiff's home that night in your car, which was a Jeep that you subsequently sold, but within the last 6 months. So that's easy. We have an entire staff out here who can contact the Department of Motor Vehicles to find out whether you had a Jeep registered to your name within the last 8 months. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You want time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Then let's not waste any of my time. You're suing for car payments that you can prove to me.
I have highlighted from the car lot every time I made the payment, and also I have my bank statement here to show.
Just a minute. I want to know, after February 11th, not before when you were living together and sharing expenses. I'm totally disinterested in that. I'm not helping you play house. After February 11th, did you make car payments?
No, I did not. I was laid off work in January 2015. I couldn't afford it.
Well, then I'm not interested in car payments that were made before. Who cares whether you made them? He made contributions to the household, according to him. I absolutely believe that, because you acknowledge that. Right. So while you were living together playing house for those 2 years, I'm not interested. So if you didn't make any payments subsequent to your separating, which is February 11th, 2015, that part of your claim is dismissed. Now, the car was repossessed?
Correct.
Is there anything owing on the car?
No, he went to the car lot to make a past due payment, and they repossessed the truck from him when the truck was in his possession.
Just a second. So they're not coming after you for any additional payments on the car? No. The claim has to do with stuff that was destroyed in the house.
Yes.
You want to tell me about that?
Yes, the evening of February 11th, we had gone to dinner.
I know you went to dinner, I know you came home, and I know that you had an argument, and I know it escalated into something that was greater because you told about what exactly happened when you came home and after the argument.
To what was damaged.
Just a second. What is this a picture of?
That's of a 46-inch TV that was broken.
Okay, when was it purchased?
That was it was actually purchased by my mother in 2009.
What else?
The 27-inch TV was given to me by a friend. And
when?
I'm not sure about the date. It was within 2015.
Okay. $150 for the 46-inch and $50 for the 27th. Let's go.
The dresser, a friend of mine gave that to me in 2010.
How did the glass door get broken?
When he was leaving, he hit it.
That's not true, Your Honor.
May I see the estimate to have it fixed, or did you have it fixed?
A friend of mine came over and fixed it for me.
How much was...
He didn't charge me. He put a piece of plexiglass in there for me.
Okay. Would you take this, please, Bird? You can return all these photographs to the plaintiff. I'm not interested in what the defendant has to say. He's a fibber. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Things escalated and got heated up.
She was claiming that I was cheating on her.
And everything that I said in there was 100% the truth.
She went through my phone.
And he knows he's lying about it, but...
She went crazy when she grabbed the phone.
I know the truth, so I'm okay with that.
She broke my phone and destroyed the house.
I mean, you have to take responsibility for your actions.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clark versus Cunningham
is suing her daughter's boyfriend, Christopher Cunningham, for unpaid rent, damages caused to her car, and moving expenses.
Miss Clark, how old is your granddaughter?
I have 2.
How old is the one that you took to Europe?
18.
And that's the child of your daughter?
Correct.
And who is this?
That's my daughter.
Your daughter is unemployed?
Yes.
How long has she been unemployed?
6-7 months.
And how long has Mr. Cunningham been her boyfriend?
About a year.
Did he live with her?
Yes.
For that year?
Yes.
Do you work, Mr. Cunningham?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I just got out of prison a year ago. I've been looking for employment. I've been doing side jobs here and there.
So you live with Miss Clark's daughter. Miss Clark pays the rent?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a good deal for you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He left me to move a 3-bedroom house. He stole my daughter's prescription. She ended up in a rehab.
Let me tell you something. I can understand why you're angry.
Closed captioning is provided by...
To folks out there whose diabetic nerve pain shoots and burns its way into your day, I hear you. To everyone with this pain that makes ordinary tasks extraordinarily painful, I hear you. Make sure your doctor hears you too. I hear you because I was there when my dad suffered with diabetic nerve. Shooting pain in your feet or hands, don't suffer in silence. Step on up and ask your doctor about diabetic nerve pain. Tell him Cedric sent you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sharon Clark says her daughter's boyfriend, Christopher Cunningham, owes for rent, damages to her car, and moving expenses.
Now, did you ever tell Miss Clark that you were just released from prison?
Everyone knew my situation.
I didn't ask
Yes,
you
ma'am.
that. Question was, you told her.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were aware of the fact that he had just been released from prison and he was not employed?
Well, he was employed.
By whom?
He worked as a painter. He worked on a farm for a while. He's had about 4 or 5 jobs.
But nothing steady.
Month here, couple months there.
Great. So this is what happened. You decided to take your 18-year-old granddaughter to Europe for part of the summer. When you left, according to your complaint, you paid June and July's rent.
Correct.
And you gave that money to whom?
To Patsy, who's landlord.
And according to you, you told Mr. Cunningham that he would be responsible for August's rent.
Correct.
Well, he didn't pay August's rent, so they were going to evict them.
Correct.
By that time, you had come back from Europe.
Correct.
They were still in the apartment.
Yes.
Where did your daughter go? You don't say that here. So your daughter is living with you.
Correct.
And she has certain medical issues that
Correct.
you indicated. And is your granddaughter also living with you?
No.
Where is she?
She's in Sarasota.
So just your daughter is living with you?
Yes.
In any event, I don't know what it is that you're suing him for. You want to tell me?
I'm suing him for actually 2 things. For the damage he did to the car while I was gone, and for the month's rent because she was evicted. He agreed he was going to pay the August rent. I'd paid rent from December all the way through July.
Miss Clark.
Yes.
Your daughter is living with you. You're not getting any rent from him. He's a ne'er-do-well. You had no reasonable expectation that he was going to pay rent. He had never paid rent. According to him, he'd never paid rent. And it was very, very convenient that your daughter moved home with you, where she's now living. Do you still see her?
Yes, ma'am.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
How often?
Every other week.
Tell me about seeing her every other week. Where?
I stay at my brother's house in Newport Richey, Florida. She'll contact me on the phone, and she'll come see me.
And that's happened since August?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you want to tell me what happened with the car?
Yes, ma'am. I'll tell you exactly what happened with the car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My daughter has anxiety issues, and she doesn't choose well.
Well, just a second. We have talk programs about that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sharon Clark says her daughter's boyfriend, Christopher Cunningham, owes for rent, damages to her car, and moving expenses.
Now, tell me what happened with the car.
She dropped the car off at the house for her daughter. The window didn't work properly, so Michelle was like, will you please fix the window for my mom, and so I can drive the car and not sweat to death in Florida? And I said, yeah, I can do that for you. I'm going to get parts from a junkyard anyways. I'll pick up the motor.
What were you going to get parts for?
I had a Volkswagen, and it was lowered, and the car hit the
So
ground.
you had a car.
Yes, ma'am. And the car got damaged, so I needed to fix it.
From December until August, did you have your own vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
So clearly, this wasn't a car that you were going to be using.
No, this was a gift that it was more of a surprise for her mother because the window was already damaged. The car was already damaged. I already had electrical issues, and I was trying to do a repair for her mother and for her daughter for a surprise.
Okay, but it didn't work out.
Well, it worked out, and I told her directly how to use the window. The car was already damaged. The panel that did get damaged was deflected. It had issues with it already.
I don't have a mechanic here. Well, you don't have a mechanic,
And
so
also,
I don't know.
I did loan him the car because he was working at a farm that was like 23 miles away. The Volkswagen's a diesel turbo, gets very good gas mileage. He promised to pay the rent, and so he was working at the time. I lent him the car so that he could pay the rent. He also illegally brought in and rented out my granddaughter's room and collected $150 per week that was all supposed to be on the contingency that he paid the bills and he paid the rent. Not a dime of it went towards a bill or the rent.
And he deserted you all when you were moving on the 27th, according to you.
Yes.
Shh.
Yes, I'm 61 years old. He left me to move a 3-bedroom house. He stole my daughter's prescription. She ended up in a rehab. So by myself, I had to move a 3-bedroom house within 3 days.
Let me tell you something. I can understand why you're angry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. That's why we offer this free book. Call 1-800-400-5903.
All the sparkle of champagne, delightfully non-alcoholic. Celebrate with Martinelli's, a family tradition since 1868.
Real people. Judge Judy. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, your daughter picks a bum. That's not something that a court can deal with. Not everything is a lawsuit. And you were very happy, I assume, and let's be honest, that he was, for a period of time, living with your daughter, because I read what you indicated was her situation. So I assume that at least for a period of time, there was some comfort that you had somebody who was going to be with your daughter when you took her daughter to Europe. There's a certain peace of mind that you have, that she wasn't alone. That be a fair statement?
Yes.
Of course. And the fact that he turned out to be a bum and left 3 days before you had to move is not something that's legally actionable. It's just not. Being disappointed in him as a person is not legally actionable.
He lived there for a year without helping.
Well, just a second. We have talk programs about that, self-help groups that do that.
My daughter has anxiety issues, and she doesn't choose well.
I'm telling you, not everything is a lawsuit.
The car was for him because he promised, he was working at the time. He was...
Where's the car?
The car is at...
Where's the car?
The car is in Florida.
In your house?
No, it's at my granddaughter.
What do you mean it's at your granddaughter?
My granddaughter has the car.
Please excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You had a Confederate flag.
My flag was ripped off of my truck, and there was a fat scratch on my tailgate.
So it was clear someone purposefully vandalized it.
Yeah, ripped in half and everything.
Next Judge Judy.
He's promised to pay. He's never paid.
It's all fabricated lies.
He's allowed me to do everything.
And I think the mother is just trying to...
And he's done nothing.
You know, make a profit on something.
It's a very much so a slap in the face.
You know, I would like to repair the relationship.
And my daughter still considers him her boyfriend.
That's my baby. I'm gonna see her tonight.
It's repulsive.
I'm not gonna be a bum like Judge Judy said I am.
I never want to see him again.
I'm gonna do positive things, go to school, do what I'm supposed to do, and show him what I can be.
I never had a problem like this in my life. It's absurd.
That's why you have a contract, Mr. Businessman, for 15 years.
A contractor tries to build his defense.
$11,000 to do the work. I did the job perfect.
It doesn't look perfect to me.
But will the judge tear it all down?
It was going to be more money than what you originally quoted her.
Correct.
It just looks sleazy.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Karen Beck is suing contractor Terrence Gorens for failing to properly renovate her front porch.
Order. All rise. This is case number 297 on the calendar in the matter of Beck versus Gorens.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Beck, you hired the defendant to redo the porch in your house.
Yes, I did.
Is your claim that he did a horrendous job, a job that left the porch actually higher than your house itself?
It is.
Which wasn't the case before, I assume.
Exactly.
And he didn't complete the job. You want $5,000. I don't know what you paid him. How much did you pay him?
I paid him $8,000 out of an $11,000 agreement.
He's got a counterclaim for the balance. Now, when did you hire him?
I hired him shortly after the Western Mass Home Show in the spring of 2015.
Was he at the home show showing?
Yes, he had a booth there.
Did you ask for references?
I didn't ask him for references. I did an online check. I checked his license. I checked some different page adverse, and I found nothing adverse on him.
Okay, but you didn't ask him for references?
I did not.
Always a good idea when somebody's doing contracting work if you don't know their work. When did he start work?
He started work on June 19th.
Did you have a contract with him?
We did not. He told me...
That's another problem.
It is.
Why don't you have a contract? You're in business.
We had a verbal agreement.
Why didn't you have a written contract? You're in business.
Because we had a verbal agreement.
Are you thick? You're in business. You're a businessman. You're a contractor. When you perform a job for $11,000, you write down the scope of the work.
I'm sorry, Judge. I just thought that
Did you not understand what I said to you? You're in business. When you do a job for $11,000, you put down the scope of the work.
I have it right here.
In a contract.
Yes, right here.
I'd like to see it. That's not a contract. That's an invoice. A contract is a signed document by both parties indicating what the expectation is and what the cost of the product is. And the reason you do that is because I read your answer. Because once you agreed upon a price, which was $11,000, is that correct?
That's correct.
Then you said about it being. Once I started taking apart the deck, I noticed a lot of damage that needed repairing first before the renovations could be made. I let Karen know it was going to be over budget. That was right away. That was before you even started, but she'd already given you the $8,000.
Not before we started. We were there to work.
Had she already given you the $8,000?
She gave me the deposit for $4,000.
She gave you $4,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you started dismantling the porch. And that's when you noticed, because you're such an expert, that it was going to be more money than what you originally quoted her. Is that what you told her?
Correct.
Got it?
Got it.
That's why you put it in a contract. That's why if you're a professional, you do an inspection and you say, this is what I see. If there's something that I don't see when I start taking apart the porch because you have rot damage under your house or whatever, it may be more. I won't know that until I take it apart. Then it's all in the contract. Right now, it just looks sleazy. Do you understand? Been there, done that.
I've been doing
Played
this for
that
15
game.
years. I've never had a problem like this.
Really?
Ever.
Really?
Yes.
Good for you.
And I have pictures of before completion to after
Just
everything.
a second. All I want to know is...
It's
That's either yes or a no. She's going to have her photographs, and I assume you have yours. Is the front porch that you did level with her house?
Yeah, because we agreed upon that.
It is level with her house.
Well, if you open the door, you walk right out. It's boom. No, there's not a step down. That's what she wanted.
May I please see the photograph that shows the porch and the entrance to the house?
Your Honor, there's approximately about an inch drop from the porch.
You're talking about this?
Yes.
This area here?
Yes.
And this is the porch?
Yes.
And
That's
this is the
living
entrance
room
to your
floor.
house?
Yes.
Would you show this to the defendant, please?
Sure.
I didn't install the door.
We're not talking about the door.
I don't understand. This is the level that step out, boom, it's perfect. Could you show her this?
It's not perfect.
That's the height that we agreed to build it on, yeah.
Show me in your contract.
We had a verbal agreement.
I see a space.
A verbal agreement. Upon $11,000 to do the work, I did the job perfect. And she kicked us off the job, would not let us finish.
Doesn't look perfect to me. Now,
Your Honor, would you like the whole stack?
No, I'd like to see how he left the premises.
Oh, the final product?
Yes.
It's the after picture.
After he broke his ankle, but before it was finished, because he couldn't come back.
She wouldn't let us come back. I had all intentions in finishing. She kicked us off the job. All they had left to do was put up 4 hand railings.
Your Honor, the verbal agreement
How can you pick up a yard if she kicks you off the property and says she's going to call the cops if you come back? I had any intentions of fixing whatever she wanted. I had a punch list. We were going to go through, correct everything she wanted. She wouldn't let me on the property to finish.
So this is what your house looked like before?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is what it looks like after?
Yes.
When he finished the porch?
Yes.
Doesn't look bad to me.
From a distance, it doesn't look bad, Your Honor.
Here's my pictures,
we're talking about, listen to me, we're talking about what you're showing me. From a distance, you took the picture. I didn't take the picture.
I have up-close pictures that will show everything that's wrong. The majority of
all I'm telling you is, this doesn't look bad.
Could you show this?
I do agree.
I'm not at your end yet.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I do agree with you, Your Honor. However, the verbal agreement also included 4 stone pillars, as is in the inspiration picture.
But also,
which he decided not to do.
I stopped and let her know before we even continued that there wasn't enough money in the budget to do the stone pillars. And she said, go ahead, complete it so it gets...
That's why you have a contract, Mr. Businessman, for 15 years. Because what you just said to me was, I told her, after you started, that there wasn't enough money in the budget for stone pillars.
Because we had to rip apart her whole structure of her porch. You're
the contractor.
Verbal agreement or no contract or not.
You're the contractor.
We're 2 good people here. I never had a problem like this in my life.
Okay.
It's absurd. There's no way I owe her money. The project is done. It's beautiful. Property's left like that because she kicked us off the job, wouldn't let us finish.
He broke into my house, Your Honor, through...
I'm not interested.
Okay.
Not interested.
She left the key out for me.
Be quiet. Well, it doesn't look like great workmanship when you look at it up close. Did you have the porch ripped out?
There was no...
Did you have the porch ripped out, is my question.
He ripped it out before we had a verbal agreement. I mean,
the porch that he built, did you have it ripped out?
I have an estimate to have it replaced.
Did you have it ripped out?
No, I have not.
The house that you started with looked like this. So am I correct that the defendant, and I'm not crazy about the workmanship, ripped out the whole porch?
Yes.
And installed this porch?
I agree with that.
Right. That's
I was
worth
expecting
money.
a phone call from him for the written agreement prior to any work commencing, which he told me he would do.
Listen,
he called me and said,
How old are you?
I'm 49 years old.
Well, then let me tell you this. If you were expecting a written agreement, you should have said, don't come to my house until I have a written agreement.
We had discussed it, and he told me he would call me before he came so we could do that. And the next phone call was, I just took the porch out. And there was money built into the verbal agreement for the underfootings of the porch.
I don't know that. Now, can you explain this to me, sir?
You talking to me, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Can I come up?
No, I don't want you anywhere. Herb, would you show this to him?
What does she want to explain?
I'm asking you about the
this was just a temporary step until we could finish it, just so she can get on and off the porch.
Just a second. Did you ever finish it? The answer is either yes or no.
She wouldn't let us. She kicked us off the job.
Listen to me. The answer is either yes or no.
No, Your Honor. I could not finish it because she kicked us off the property.
No, you did not finish it because you did not finish it because in your answer and what you just told me 2 seconds ago was the only thing you had to put up was railings. That's not a railing.
And
now let me ask you, but I'm not finished with you.
Sorry.
Because this is taking care of your counterclaim for any more money that you think she owes you because she owes you Zippo. Because this looks nice from far away. You know, it's like a way, but they get up close and it starts to smell. Take a look. Would you show him this lattice work, please?
I don't see the issue.
Take a look at the lattice work.
Does that look right to you? She had to fill it back in the grate. It was all going to be buried with dirt. She had to get her yard redone. That was part of the...
That was part of the what?
Her yard's so crooked, you had to cut it to fit it, and then she was going to go and mulch it, and it had all been buried. You wouldn't even been seen all that.
So you can perform shoddy work.
It's not shoddy work.
Shoddy work that's uncut properly because, well, she was going to fill it in anyway. Is that what you're telling me? So instead of cutting the lattice work so that it fit, you cut it so that it didn't fit because it was going to be filled in anyway.
It would bow and buckle. If you've got to give it room for expansion and contraction. It's vinyl. It moves.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Listen to me. This is not a give and take.
But it's besides the paint.
This is not a give and take.
But you're honest,
This is not... What don't you understand? This is not a give and take.
I understand, but...
You don't understand.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Karen Beck says contractor Terrence Gorentz failed to properly suing for unpaid labor and materials.
I tell you what I'm doing. I'm dismissing your case for $5,000 because you paid him so far $8,000, $3,000 less than the agreed upon price, and I think you can get somebody to fix that porch for less. But I'm dismissing it without prejudice. If, in fact, you have the entire porch replaced, I'm giving you leave to come back. Do you understand?
Yes.
I don't think you're going to do that. I think you're going to work with what you have. But you got an $11,000 porch for $8,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Thanks very much. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Step out.
I didn't think that a licensed contractor with 15 years of experience...
It was sitting on cinder blocks and bricks.
...would have such a problem building a front porch.
How am I going to rebuild an $11,000 deck on cinder blocks and bricks?
It's very frustrating.
Once I figured that out, I called Karen and let her know.
It was the whole point of the front porch to get those stone pillars.
If she couldn't come up with more money, she had to cut something out of the project.
Every day was a nightmare with this gentleman.
And ever since that happened, it was a total light switch. She became a complete psycho.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gerbasia versus Ramos. Step forward.
Joni Gerbasia is suing her former tenant, 21-year-old Sarah Ramos, for unpaid rent and for damaging her property.
Mr. Gerbasia, you have a house?
No, I rent a condo.
You rent a condo?
Yes.
How big a condo?
It has...
You rented it?
About 7 years.
Does your lease permit you to sublet the apartment to rent out rooms?
Yes, it does. If I have to get written or verbal permission, and I do have that.
I'd like to see it.
The emails are on the back of that.
So you rented for $1,600 a month?
Yes.
How many rooms do you rent?
2 rooms.
How long have you rented them?
Approximately a year and a half.
How much do you charge for rent for those rooms?
The one room in the front is $675, and the room in the back, which is a smaller room, is $625, and furniture is included.
What about utilities?
Utilities are included. And I charge an extra $25 for paper products, plastic products, spices, sugar, things like that.
Well, how do you know people use that?
They cook in the kitchen. They're allowed to cook in the kitchen. And
so you charge, in addition to their rent, they have to give you an additional $25 a month?
I asked them because otherwise everybody's buying their own things. Yes.
So the answer is, so it's not $675, it's $700 a month and $650 a month.
Yes.
So you end up paying about $250 a month.
Plus the utilities, yes.
That's some good deal for you.
I have no other choice, Your Honor, right now. And the landlord wanted me to stay, and he says this is not...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Let me explain something to you. Paint it again.
But I shouldn't have to paint it. The father and the mother both state in
She's not going to paint the room. This is your business. You have made your home your business.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joni Gerbasia says former tenant Sarah Ramos owes for rent and for trashing her room.
Did you see an ad for a room?
Yes, I did.
You were living at home with your parents?
At the time, I was renting out of another room from another woman.
Were you going to school or working?
I was working at the time.
When did you move in?
I moved in April 3rd.
And you signed the 6-month lease?
I did.
On what date did you move out?
August 15th.
Did you pay August's rent?
I did not. I tried paying her, but she wouldn't take it. I gave her the first check out of 2 checks that I would pay, and she didn't accept the first.
Well, were you supposed to pay the first of the month? Does your lease provide?
I was supposed to pay the first of the month, yes.
So on August 1st, you did not pay the rent?
Yes.
Did you tender the rent to her?
Tender.
Tender it, offer it to her?
Yes, I offered the first part of it to her.
What was the first part?
The first part was $350. It's a check written to her.
Just a second. In April, did you give her 2 checks or 1?
Well, I gave her 1 check.
In May, did you give her 2 checks or 1?
1.
In June, did you? In August?
At the time, I was putting money down for another place that I had to hold down.
Why?
because the living conditions were unbearable for me.
Well, you owe her for August's rent.
Yeah.
So that's $625. Did she tell you the beginning of August that she was moving out?
No, she did not.
Did she tender a check for half to you?
Not on July 1st. No, she did not.
Let's be more specific. On August 1st, did she tender any rent to you?
No, she did not. Nothing.
But she was there till August 15th. Weren't you getting suspicious?
Yes, Your Honor, I was. And I questioned her on the 3rd. I said, the rent is late. You've never been late before. Can you please pay me the rent? Then she comes out of her room and she says to me, this $300 security, you use that as the rest of the rent, and here's a $350 check. I said, I cannot use a $300 deposit. It's against the law. You know that. Your stepfather had told you that already also. Besides, you know the law. She says, well, I used that with the other lady that I had. I said, well, you can't use it here. So I need the rest of the rent. Well, I don't have it right now. Here's this $350.
Well, you knew at that point that she was planning on moving out.
At that point, I did not. Then she handed me the 30-day notice.
At the same time?
At the same time. Right, one right after the other.
Fine.
Yes.
And so you weren't surprised because you had been having difficulty with her for a while, according to you.
For about...
been getting along.
More or so, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so now you have notice. You have a whole month to find a new tenant.
She painted the room, Your Honor, and destroyed it. And I did not know how bad it was destroyed.
Did you keep her security deposit?
Yes, I did.
You did? Well, then she only owes you $325, unless I find that she destroyed the room.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now I'd like to see the pictures of the room that she allegedly destroyed.
And I also have estimates here, Your Honor.
Let me see the pictures first.
There you go.
I have no idea what this is that you're showing me. This looks like a perfectly clean room. What color did you paint the room?
Painted it a beige color.
She got it on the ceiling. She got it on the baseboard. She got it on the window. She had it on the blind. She got it on the light that was hanging up.
Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you painted the apartment?
Approximately 4 years ago.
Let me explain something to you. Paint it again.
But I shouldn't have to paint it. The father and the mother.
This is your business. You have made your home your business. And if your room hasn't been painted in 4 years and you rent it out to tenants, paint it.
Everybody loves the color of that room.
This is not a give and take.
Plus,
this is, to me, this is not a give and take.
But it's besides the paint.
This is not a give and take.
But Your Honor, she's got paint on the floor.
What don't you understand? This is not a give and take.
I understand, but...
You don't understand.
I have proof.
You don't understand.
I have proof that they said they were going to fix it.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $325. She gets a security deposit back. She owes you the money for August rent. I can absolutely understand why you two ladies could not get along. Goodbye. Thank you.
Excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This caretaker wasn't much help.
Why aren't you here? Sounds to me like you could never find you. Is there something that I'm not understanding about your expression? There's something off here, and I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Next Judge Judy.
I think it's unfair because she destroyed the room.
I painted the room, but that's her problem. She didn't like the paint job. I'm not a professional painter.
She had a boyfriend living there most of the time.
She said the more the merrier. Have him over. I love having him. She loved him.
And I had to sleep on the couch for a week before she moved out.
That was her own thing. That was her own prerogative.
Door open.
So I was leaving the door open.
And just trying to bring in strange men.
None of that was happening.
Very disrespectful. She cursed at me several times.
It was a good experience, though. I mean, it's okay.
I am so glad she's out of there. I don't ever want to see that girl again.
You purchased this truck. Was it outfitted to have a flagpole?
No, I had to customize it myself.
And in the flagpole, you had a Confederate flag.
My flag was ripped off of my truck, and there was a fat scratch on my tailgate.
So it was clear someone purposefully vandalized it.
Yeah, ripped in half and everything.
Mr. Nolan turned around and told me there's a Confederate flag laying in the street. And we picked up the flag and started driving around with it, kind of as a joke.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 19-year-old Jesse Huggins is suing Christopher Easley, Bailey Forston, and Nicholas Nolan for vandalizing his truck at a party.
Order. All rise. It's case number 250 on the calendar, the matter of Huggins versus Easley, Forston, Nolan.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Mr. Huggins, where do you come from, sir? What do you do?
I'm a chef at Angry Crab.
And you've been working for a while, so you bought your own truck.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you purchase it?
I purchased it about 8 months ago.
How much did you pay for it?
After tax and everything, $10,000.
Did you buy it for cash, or do you have a note on it?
I have a note on it.
And your monthly payment is what?
$320 a month.
Do you live with family, or do you live on your own?
Yes, I live with my father.
Okay. When you purchased this truck, was it outfitted to have a flagpole?
No, I had to customize it myself.
Okay, and where is the flagpole?
It's on the inside of the tailgate.
You did the work yourself, or
No,
did you
ma'am,
have somebody
I
else
hired
do it?
somebody to do it.
And how much did you pay him to do it?
$200 to install the flag with the flag and everything.
So it was a flagpole, and in the flagpole you had a Confederate flag.
Yes, ma'am.
Then there came a time that you went to some event, a barbecue, and you parked your car down the street from, according to what I read, from where the barbecue was, or a birthday party. It was
Yeah,
a birthday
surprise birthday party.
Had you ever parked your truck on that street before?
Not on that exact street, I haven't.
And when you came back, I'd like you to tell me what you found, Mr. Huggins.
Well, I was in the house and I got a phone call from my friend, and he said...
Don't tell me what your friend said. What did you do after you got the phone call?
I ran outside sprinting to make sure my truck was okay, making sure there was no damages to it. And I got there, my flag was ripped off of my truck, and there was a fat scratch on my tailgate.
Do you have photographs?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Before my tailgate was scratched and after my tailgate was scratched.
When was this party, sir?
It was August 8th was the party.
Is this a picture of it before?
Yes.
That's before?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is?
That's after the night.
The scratch?
Yeah.
Afterwards. And did you find the flag on the floor?
It was actually on the hood of my truck.
So it was clear someone purposefully vandalized it?
Yeah, ripped in half and everything.
Now, these three gentlemen are on the defendant's side, so I assume that we have some evidence to suggest that they were complicit in that. So I'm going to start out. Who's Easley? How old are you?
I'm 19, Your Honor.
What do you do?
I'm a student.
Where?
At Mesa Community College.
Who do you live with?
I live with myself and 2 roommates.
Do you work?
No.
Who pays for your room?
My parents.
Do you have a car?
No, ma'am.
Who pays for your tuition?
My parents.
And your last name is?
Forston.
How old are you?
18.
What do you do?
I'm a personal assistant for a Maui gym rep.
Who do you live with?
My father.
Do you have a car?
No.
So you must be Mr. Nolan.
Yeah, that's correct.
What do you do?
I do music. I'm interested in music.
I don't care what you're interested in. What do you do?
That's what I do.
Well, do you study it? Do you play in a band?
I play my guitar, and I try to get... Oh, it's useless.
Yes.
Music's
Yes,
useless.
Mr. Nolan. If you said to me, I'm studying music and I want to be a musician, so I'm going to school, you mean you just sit around your house playing the guitar?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, you're an idiot. All right, now, you have a car?
Yes, that's correct.
And who bought you the car?
My parents.
There we go. There's the trouble. And your parents are the ones that let you sit around the house and do nothing. Yeah. Okay. Did you graduate from high school, Mr. Nolan?
Did.
Yes. So you basically, from what I'm gathering from having a brief conversation with the three of you, Mr. Nolan is the wise guy. Would that be the answer? Yes, Mr. Forston. Mr. Forston says yes. Mr. Easley doesn't know how to respond because he doesn't know what the right answer is. Okay. So, did you know them from before?
No, I have not.
August 8th?
No.
No. Okay. Now, at approximately what time did you go out and take a look at your car and find that it had been vandalized?
Around 10:30 or 11.
10:30 in the evening?
Yeah.
And where were you on the 8th of August?
Me? Oh, I was with them.
Doing what?
We were hanging out at Chris's house.
Well, you weren't hanging out. You were in your car.
Yeah, we drove to go get food at one point in the night.
Okay. So you went to get food where?
There's a Jack in the Box down the street.
How far from Mr. Easley's house?
A mile.
Is that right?
It's like that, but I'd say between 1 mile and 2 miles.
Now, Mr. Easley, I'm going to ask you, sir, when for the first time did you see Mr. Huggins' truck?
That night was the first time I saw it.
Was that on you? You're in the truck bed, and all of a sudden, Mr. Nolan's truck stops.
Yes, Your Honor.
I assume you're facing backwards.
Yes,
sir,
Your Honor.
Right? You're leaning against the cab of the truck, looking back. So you don't know why the truck stops. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
It can't get much easier than this, Officer Byrne.
Shooting fish in a barrel.
So when the truck stops, I want you to tell me what you do.
What I did that night when the truck stopped?
Yes, the truck stopped. You're on your way to Jack in the Box. Now, you know you're not at the Jack in the Box because you don't see a Jack in the Box outside.
Yeah.
You see a nothing, and you don't know why Mr. Nolan has stopped the car.
Oh, that's when Mr. Nolan turned around and told me there's a Confederate flag laying in the street.
Okay, so he leaned out of the driver's
seat,
turned his neck all the way around,
Yep.
and said to you, there's a Confederate flag lying on the ground.
Yes.
And what did you do?
I said I don't know. What did I say?
No. Don't ask him. I'm asking you what you did.
This was
asking you
an event in my lifetime.
Listen to me. You had a lot of time to think about it, and now I'm asking you questions. We're not talking about something that happened 5 years ago. And unless you're suffering from dementia, I'd like you to tell me what you did when he stopped and said to you, there's a Confederate flag lying on the ground. Let's start out with, did you get out of the back of the cab?
No, Your Honor.
You stayed.
At that point.
At any point, prior to getting to the Jack in the Box, did you get out of the bed?
Yes, Your Honor.
At what point did you get out of the bed?
Okay, so I was with 5 kids that night. 5 kids.
Oh, so there were 2 additional ones other than you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And they were in the cab of the truck?
1 more in the cab that is not here, and 1
so
more.
There were 3 in the cab, and how many in the back of the truck? 2. Okay, so what did you do?
I got out with the rest of them, and we picked up the flag and started driving around with it. I was holding it in the back, and then we'd eventually...
Okay, now, so let's stop right there for a moment. So you picked up the flag that was on the ground.
Yes, Your Honor.
And started driving around with it. Did you drive with it to the Jack in the Box?
No, Your Honor.
How far did you get with it?
A couple blocks.
And what did you do after a couple of blocks?
One of the urinating on the flag.
Okay. And what was that person's name?
That's irrelevant.
What was the person's name?
That's irrelevant. They're not here today.
It's not irrelevant, sir. I'm asking you questions. You're obligated to answer my questions.
This case is surrounded around me, Your Honor. I'm the one being sued, $2,500.
Listen to me. I asked you the name of the person whose idea it was.
That's irrelevant.
Oh, I love this. This is going to get better.
If I were to tell you, what would you do with that information, Your Honor?
I don't answer your questions, you fool. You answer my questions. You want to be the one to ask questions?
I would like
Go to law school. Go to law school, take the bar, graduate, get appointed to the bench, and somebody will let you ask questions. But when you are here, if you didn't read it, you should have. You signed a whole bunch of documents back there indicating that you wanted your matter adjudicated right here, which means I get to ask the questions and you don't get to say that's irrelevant. Do I make myself clear? Do I make myself clear?
Yes,
you
Your
also
Honor.
come from Arizona?
Yes, Your Honor.
You could walk home because we have your ticket to get home. Does that make it clearer for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues.
Take this bus trip.
July 1st.
And who went?
Me, 2 hitchhikers I picked up off Craigslist.
Not her.
Not her.
Where did you get her?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jesse Huggins says Christopher Easley, Bailey Forston, and Nicholas Nolan vandalized his truck by scratching it and removing his flag.
Now, I'm going to ask you again. What was the name of the person who suggested that it would be fun to urinate on the Confederate flag?
His name is Johnny.
Whether his name is Johnny or not, I don't care. But I knew I was going to get a name from you, and irrelevant wasn't the name. Now do we understand each other better?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you didn't like the idea of walking back to Arizona. Now, because it's very possible, that his parents would send him a ticket because they let him sit around playing with himself all day on his guitar. But the one in the middle isn't going to have his parents send the ticket.
Nope.
No, I know that. I got that. Okay, I've had enough enjoyment. Can I see the photographs that these fools posted on the internet, which is how you found it? Okay, now, when you got finished driving around and urinating on the flag, one of you geniuses decided to put it back on the truck. Who decided to put it back on the truck? Raise your hand. So that was somebody that's not here, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That person's name?
That was Johnny, Your Honor.
So Johnny took the wet flag that he had just urinated on and flung it onto the truck?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Are we finished here? Do you have anything to add to this case?
I saw the exact same thing Jesse saw when we ran out from the party.
Perfect. Very good. You three are a bunch of morons. You don't vandalize somebody else's property because you don't like what it says. That's not America. You may disagree with the statement, but the response to that is not to vandalize somebody else's property. And maybe if you came out of your room and gave yourself a rest for a little bit of a while, you would read a little bit more and figure that out. As for you, stay in school.
Okay.
Yeah. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm glad she went off on them because they have no right to touch other people's property.
I believe that Jesse was suing their own. Well, to be honest, I'm the savage that did it.
Someone came and told me what happened.
We ripped off the flag, actually, so...
It's disrespectful that kids nowadays are so ignorant they can't...
A lot of people were saying that he was racist, so...
Respect other people's property. They have their parents pay for everything. It's just...
Kind of deserved it.
Don't mess with people's property.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Graber versus Bender. Step forward.
Megan Graber is suing her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Bender, for charges he made to her credit card.
Mr. Bender, how long were you and Miss Graber a couple?
Since October 2014.
Until when?
Beginning of August this year, 2015.
And when did you take this bus trip?
I left the Bay Area on July 1st of 2015.
And who went?
Me, 2 hitchhikers I picked up off Craigslist. I dropped one of them off in New Mexico. The other one rode with me all the way to Louisiana.
Not her?
Not her.
Where did you get her?
We met up in Louisiana, in New Orleans.
Is that where you both lived?
No, she lived there and I lived in the Bay Area. I was just traveling.
Did you have a long-distance relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
How often did you see each other?
We tried to see each other like every month and a half or 2 months.
And you would go to her or she would come to you?
Both.
Flying or driving?
I would usually drive. She would fly to come see me.
Now, in Louisiana?
Yeah, in New Orleans.
And where did you go?
We left Louisiana westbound on the 15th of July. We stopped in Austin, Texas the first night.
It was just the two of you in the car?
It was us two and Stevie.
Who's Stevie?
Stevie's the witness here.
You're her friend?
I am, yeah.
Okay. And this is what the case is about.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you pay any of the bills other than the mechanic?
I did pay for gas, but not any, like, of my personal bills.
What about a cell phone?
Cell phone bill, yes.
So you paid for the cell phone
I thought you meant other bills.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Megan Graber says ex-boyfriend Joseph Bender owes for credit card charges. Joseph is countersuing for lost wages.
Now, there came a point when the bus broke down and the plaintiff and Stevie had to go to some sort of interview or something in California.
I had an apprenticeship, Your Honor, yes.
And they left you to deal with your bus.
Correct.
Which had broken down. But Miss Graber gave you her credit card.
Her debit card, yes.
And that was because you had no money?
I was very low on funds, and at the time, the prognosis from the mechanic was that there had been gas put into my diesel engine, and so they had assumed the last fill-up. However, the mechanic later discovered that it wasn't gas put in the diesel engine. It was that the diesel engine had been run so low that air was introduced into the system, and it locked up the engine and blew up my fuel pump. But when they left, the understanding was that they had
but that was the wrong assumption because the mechanic was wrong.
Your Honor, if I'm...
Shh, because the mechanic was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your bus. Where's the bus now?
Up in Berkeley, California.
What is it doing there?
Waiting for me to come home.
Oh, great. So it's running just fine.
Yeah, it runs great right now.
Great. And how much did you rack up to fix your bus?
$992.
$992. Is that what you charged on her debit card?
Correct.
And that's what you want back?
That's one of the many things I want back, Your Honor. Actually, other charges were made on my debit card as well.
Like what?
There was some fuel. I do have a bank statement here.
No. Just tell me, other than the $9.92, what else was put on your debit card?
There were multiple gas purchases. There was an oil change, I believe, when Mr. Bender made it back to the Bay. And there is a cell phone bill, Your Honor, that is not my cell phone, but Mr. Bender's.
Did you pay any of the bills other than the mechanic?
No, just vehicle maintenance.
Show him the bank statement. Thank you.
Oh, no, I did pay for gas, but not any, like, of my personal bills.
What about a cell phone?
Cell phone bill, yes.
So you paid for the cell phone bill into your diesel motor, sir, paying your cell phone bill. You want to tell me why you paid your cell phone bill with her debit card?
I figured because I had her wallet and debit card that it would be good to be in communication, and my phone plan was going to expire.
What do you do?
I'm a freelance sound technician.
It doesn't sound like that is supporting you.
It does. Usually it was a big month, but I missed out on a lot of wages when I was broke down in Arizona, and I was flat broke at that point.
How old are you?
26, Your Honor.
26. You should have something that gives you a steady form of income, right?
That's correct.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, how old is this bus?
It's 1990 GMC.
1990.
Yeah.
In 1990, a real antique.
Yeah.
It's time to start thinking about getting some full-time employment, sir, so that you could buy new wheels. So, how much was put on your credit card?
$13.66.
$13.66. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim for all your lost gigs is dismissed. Goodbye.
Step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, her cousin.
Tamika chokes me and I fall off the chair.
But her intimidation doesn't cut it with the judge.
Only one attitude here. That's mine.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy.
When I was driving the bus, everything was perfectly normal. It turned out that the fuel gauge...
At first, we didn't know that it was blown up. We thought that they had put gas in it.
Which we had been informed was faulty to begin with, was actually much worse off than we knew.
Then when we found out that that wasn't the case, I was still pretty angry.
He was very quick to agree with the mechanic that...
It was an honest mistake, but...
Probably because we're women, had put gasoline in a diesel engine, which we would never do.
Lesson learned, don't let people drive the bus. If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself.
That was just one of the moments that I knew that the relationship wasn't going to work out.
Even if that means taking longer to get to where you got to go.
If he could think that I could make such an easy... If he thought that I was that stupid, rather, then he obviously had no respect for me.
We're done.
I think we're going to be taking planes from now on.
Did she work 7 days, 5 hours a day?
She worked a total of 2 days for me, Your Honor.
This caretaker wasn't much help.
Why aren't you here? You were supposed to come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sounds to me like you could never find you. You want to read these?
No, thank you.
But she can...
Understanding about your expression? There's something off here, so I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Demetria Deemy Davis is suing her neighbor and former employer, Brandon Hunter, for unpaid wages as a personal aide.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 283 on the calendar in the matter Davis versus Hunter.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Miss Davis, how did you know Mr. Hunter when you were hired as an in-home health care aide?
Mr. Hunter was my neighbor.
Do you have any particular training with regard to in-home health care?
I was in school for getting my CNA.
How much in school?
I just recently started.
So you'd have no training?
Correct.
It's your claim that he fired you, he owes you some money, he harassed you, which I'm not interested in, and he failed to give you the good recommendation that he promised he would give you. Evidently, he wasn't satisfied with your services. Now, you were supposed to be paid by the state, is that correct?
Yes.
Was that your agreement with Mr. Hunter? You signed up with the state?
Yes.
And you started working when?
August 19th, 2015.
And on weekends as well as during the week?
Yes.
How many hours a day?
5.
5 hours a day, 7 days a week?
No, 3 days a week.
3 days a week. Which 3 days?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Well, that's not a weekend. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is not a weekend. So you did not work weekends. What part of my questions don't you understand? I asked you if you work the weekends. You said yes. I said, you work 7 days a week? You said, no, 3 days a week. I said, what 3 days? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Therefore, we're not in the weekend. Is there something that I'm not understanding about your expression? Now, you started on the 19th. The 19th was what day of the week?
I'm not sure.
Was it a Monday, a Wednesday, or a Friday? This is your case. You say he owes you money.
It was Wednesday.
So Wednesday and Friday, that was 1 week. And then the following week is 3 days. So altogether now we have 5 days in the month of August. And September 5th was when he fired you. Do you remember what day of the week that was?
Saturday.
Well, you don't work on Saturday. Is that when he notified you not to come in on Monday?
Yes.
Well, then you didn't work at all in September. Did you work at all in September?
Yes.
How many days?
2.
Okay, so we have 7 days, 5 hours a day. Is that what you say you worked?
Yes.
Now, you were supposed to be paid by the state. Did the state pay you?
No.
Did you ask why not?
No.
Your agreement was that the state was going to pay you. You filled out the forms for the state, correct?
No.
You didn't?
No.
I thought you said you filled out the forms for the state.
No, I did not fill out the forms. Mr. Hunter filled out the forms for me and was supposed to send them into the state.
You mean you don't have to send in the hours and sign piece of paper indicating how many hours you worked after he applies on your behalf?
The both of us sat down and he filled out this timesheets.
Together?
Together.
And?
Yes. And he was supposed to send those into the state for me to get paid.
Okay, so did she work 7 days, 5 hours a day?
No, Your Honor.
When did she work?
Your Honor, she only worked Monday of the initial time when she started. She worked on a Monday.
In August?
That is correct, Your Honor. And then it was a Friday when she worked.
So she worked on Monday for how many hours?
She was there for 2 hours, Your Honor.
And then Friday?
Friday, it was additional 2 hours, Your Honor.
Which 2 hours, do you remember?
It was approximately 5 p.m. when she came, Your Honor.
Both days?
I can't give you the exact times for both days, but I remember on the Monday, it was about approximately 5. On the Friday, it was approximately about 7:30, Your Honor, because she came into my home in a rush on that Friday trying to, said she was supposed to do as far as the house cleaning, the dishes, ensuring that my laundry was taken care of, that I had the things that I needed prior to her leaving.
So she was really hired not as a home health aide to take care of you, but to be a housekeeper.
It's both, Your Honor.
What was she doing for you personally other than your dishes and your laundry and cleaning the house?
Well, if I needed assistance in and out of my chair, Your Honor, she would help me with that. She also was supposed to ensure that I got to my appointments.
Did she take you to any appointments?
No, Your Honor, she did not.
What about in the month of September? Did she work at all?
Your Honor, that's that Friday that I'm speaking about in the month of September.
Did she work at all in August?
She worked that 1 day in August, yes, Your Honor.
1 day?
Yes.
So how many days in total did she work for you?
She worked a total of 2 days for me, Your Honor, through this whole time. Other than that, that was me chasing her, trying to get her, asking her, why isn't she at work? What's going on? Where's she at?
May I see? You have texts? Is that what you're showing me?
Yes, I do,
I'd like
Your
to
Honor.
see it. Sounds to me like he could never find you. You want to read these?
No, thank you.
He could never find you. Why aren't you? I'm coming. This is 7:53 in the evening. And I'll explain when I get home. Sorry, ran past my parents, the sister, out at a bar, so I'll be back soon. I can clean tomorrow, sorry. Then you say, your door was locked and I can't find the key. When did you come? He says, I was only gone for an hour. This is at 8 o'clock at night. Then the next day, he says, hey, when would you be back? I'm at Walmart and I'll be back in about 30 minutes. Then he says to you, to be honest with you, I'm waiting to see how this plays out because I've been a little concerned because of you not showing up on the days that you had picked out. I don't have a problem with you using my truck, but that's a $30,000 truck, and I feel that if you can't follow through with the arrangement that we agreed, how am I supposed to be okay with you using my truck? You remember any of this?
Yes, I do.
Well, you want to explain it to me?
I would love to.
Go ahead.
So that was in the week that I quit. That was in the week that I got fired. And basically, I was supposed to come on a Tuesday, which that was written on a Tuesday. And I told him I was coming, ran to my parents. Yes. I then came the next day and cleaned for him. And then the Friday that he's talking about that he went to Walmart, those are selective text messages on the when he was talking about Walmart, I actually took him where he wanted to go. I picked him up from Walmart. I took him where he wanted to go.
Did you work for him?
7.
I don't believe that. In any event, I just got off the phone with Impact, and that's the company that's supposed to pay you. And they said you may not receive your pay until the 20th, which is the next pay period, just a heads up. And then you write, OMG, I assume that means, oh my God. And then you say again, oh, I didn't find your key. Then he says, it's cool, I'll get you another one. Did you put in for any of the hours that you worked?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Okay. You want to tell me why not?
Yes, Your Honor, because also in those text messages, I did text Ms. Davis, and I told Ms. Davis to come back, and she needs to ensure that she filled out a revised timesheet so we can send it in so she can get paid. In those text messages, she says she don't want the money, that we can keep the money. And she would not come and fill out the timesheet so that way it can be submitted to Impact so that way she can get paid.
Well, she did, according to you, work for you for 2 days.
Yes, Your Honor.
2 hours a day.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were supposed to be paid $13 an hour, correct?
Correct.
What school do you go to, by the way?
Beck Career College.
Are you a full-time student?
Yes.
How many days a week do you go to school?
7 days a week. 6 days, 5 days a week, I'm sorry.
Well, then what 5 hours a day were you supposed to work for him?
After I got home from school. In between the time that I went to...
He paid for the work that you did. She doesn't work for nothing. If I believe everything that you say, because there's something off here, so I'm not exactly sure what it is, let us assume I believe everything that you're telling me, that she only worked for you for 4 hours in total.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, then at $13 an hour, that's still $52.
Yes, Your Honor.
She's entitled to that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was necessary to let her go because I couldn't find her.
Because I was sexually harassed.
And by me continuously trying to...
Advances made on a woman.
Push her and try to get someone to come to work.
I don't have a reaction.
I don't need to do that. I already have my own issues that I need to deal with.
Because at the time...
Later found out some things about her that...
I didn't think much of it.
If I would have known in the beginning, I probably would have never even hired her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cross versus Teo Kessel. Step forward.
Peter Cross is suing his former roommates, Precious Jade Teo and Abraham Kessel, for the return of rent and damages resulting from a hostile living environment.
Mr. Cross, on what date did you rent a room in Mr. Kessel's home?
Sometime prior to August 18th, I answered an ad on Craigslist. I met with the defendants and gave them a check, an additional check for $850 on September 13th. I moved in on September 1st.
Okay.
And I was forced to move out by September 8th.
What were the 2 checks for, the $750 and the $850?
$750 was for 1 month's rent. $850 was for a $750 deposit and a $100 fee.
What was the fee for?
Cleaning deposit or something like that.
Okay, just so that we're clear, when you moved out on the 8th of September, did you get any of that money back?
$750, and when I asked for the remainder...
You got $750 back?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Miss Teo, I gather that you sort of manage the renting of these rooms that Mr. Kessler does in order to have income and in order to maintain his house. This is a private house?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many rooms do you rent in this private house?
There's 4 rooms. Dad occupies 1, I occupy 1, and we rent out 2 rooms.
2 rooms to how many tenants?
2 tenants. That's Bob over there and Peter.
Okay. How long have you been renting the rooms?
I've been renting rooms actually for the last 5 years, 6 years.
Okay. So Mr. Cross moved in, and clearly based upon his working out.
That's right.
And you knew that within the first few days.
Yes.
I want you to tell me what wasn't working out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This is how he would cough. Like that. And when he would yawn, his yawn would go, oh, like that in the middle of the night.
So he was noisy and disturbing.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Peter Cross says former roommates Precious Jade Teo and Abraham Kessel owe for the return of rent and punitive damages. The defendants are countersuing for property damage and emotional distress.
Now, what wasn't working out?
When Peter moved in, he broke a few of the rules that we talked about.
Like what?
First of all, I showed him the refrigerator, and 4 of us are sharing the refrigerator. So I showed him the space that's allotted to him. When he moved in, he brought in a huge box of frozen food, and he knew it wouldn't fit in the space.
Don't tell me what he knew.
So
don't listen to me. Don't tell me what he knew.
Okay.
So what happened to the food he brought?
So we didn't, want to throw it out, and we told him, we gave you this space, but so we're going to just try to put all your stuff in the fridge.
Okay.
And the day he moved in, he seemed to become another person. So as far as my experience with him, he's like 2 different people. Even today, he's never had a cane. So I don't understand.
Listen to me. I don't care what you understand today.
Okay.
All I want to know is, what were the problems within the first week? So far, you told me he brought in too much frozen food.
Yes.
What else?
The first night when he was sleeping, I'm in the room next to him, and Bob is in the room next to him, too. And in the middle of the night, he would cough, and it's not a normal cough. This is how he would cough. Like that. And when
look at me. Don't look at him.
And when he would yawn, it's not a normal yawn either. His yawn would go, like that in the middle of the night.
So he was noisy and disturbing.
Yes, so we told him that, maybe he should cover his mouth. And because it was so loud, we decided to have a meeting. And he wouldn't attend the meeting. He would just walk away. Every time I tried to talk to him, he would turn around and walk away.
So the first thing was the frozen food. But more importantly, the first night he was there,
yes, ma'am,
he was disturbing the sleep of you. I assume you. I don't know about Mr. Kessler. Now, did the noisy nights go on the second night as well?
Well, the second night, I told him, I heard him, and the next night he was quiet as a mouse.
What you thought?
Then he started again, after that.
On the third night?
Yes. Not just in the night, but during the day as well.
So he started to be noisy during the day and night?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the 4th night?
The 4th night, he told us that he needed a landline, and we thought he had a cell phone, so we never, discussed that. And he said he wanted Cox to come over to set up the landline. And we told him we have a landline. Would he use it? He says, no, I want to have my own number. So we said, okay, fine. And when Dad found out it was Cox, he was kind of upset because he had very bad experience with that company. But just because he moved in and he didn't have a phone, we just said, okay. Cox people came over. The next thing we know, our garage door doesn't work. We have a receipt that we paid $175 to have it fixed.
Sue them. Sue them.
Well,
he didn't put in a landline.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I would be jumping up in the air if I were the 3 of you and say, goodbye, I made a mistake. Why wouldn't you give him his money back?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Peter Cross says former roommates Precious Jade Teo and Abraham Kessel owe for the return of rent and punitive damages and emotional distress.
Now, if a company comes into your home and you claim destroys your property, sue them.
We tried to talk to Cox when they came back, and I told Peter that,
Don't tell me what you told Peter.
Why should we be responsible?
I'm telling you, you're not responsible.
Yeah.
If a telephone company comes in and you believe damaged your property, sue them. He didn't try to install the landline, right?
Right.
Okay, because that's your counterclaim, so I've just dealt with that. Now, on what date did you give him a 30-day notice?
When we talked about Cox, and he said, I will be responsible. I will pay.
Would you do me a favor? Just answer my question, please.
We told him on September the 7th, ma'am.
That he had to be out on what date?
End of the month.
Fine. And he moved out the next day?
He moved out on the 8th, yes.
And that's what this lawsuit is about. He would like his prorated rent for the month that he paid for. Your defense to that is he could have stayed until the end of the month. Listen, I would be jumping up in the air if I were the 3 of you that he moved out on the 8th and you didn't have to go through 22 sleepless nights being annoyed by what you have so colorfully described as the noise he made. I would return holding $850, keep the $100 for his living there. He did live there for a couple of days, and say, goodbye, I made a mistake. Why wouldn't you give him his money back?
First of all, we told him we didn't think it was going to work out, being that the deposit was meant for the last month's rent. And if we could work it out where we give the last month's rent to him him he could stay till the end of the month. And
you're not following my question. I'm asking you a question, and you're answering what you want to answer in your head.
Your Honor, we were very happy he was going to move out before the end of the month, and he never asked for any...
Well, now he's asking for his money back.
Yeah, but he didn't say that when he left. Yeah.
If I were living next door to somebody and being kept awake at night, which you have described, you and the co-defendant and the other roommate, and you had an opportunity of getting rid of the annoyance that was keeping you up at night, why wouldn't you gratefully accept that?
We did.
Right? Right? Of course.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I have a copy of the check I gave him. May I show the judge?
He gave you 2 checks. He gave you 1 check for $750,
Yeah.
and he gave you 1 check for $850.
I have a check here in which I...
No, don't show me.
Just tell us.
On it I wrote that he has to leave at the end of the month.
I don't care. He says that it was created in there by all of you, a hostile situation where he had to attend meetings to discuss his noisy coughing and his noisy yawning, and he had enough of all of you, and so he left. And I agree that it was a good thing that he left for him, and it was a good thing that he left for you, and you should pay him the money that he didn't use, that he had to use for someplace else. You owe him $750. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The dressmaker.
You agreed to do the job.
I did.
And the prom this teen will never forget.
This is clearly you in the prom dress.
It wasn't finished.
What do you mean it wasn't finished?
Judge Judy.
Well, it's very tense with him because you never know what he's going to do.
What happened was a purposeful creation.
First, he was such a normal person, and then he became a totally different person. Deal with him every day.
Brainwashing. The woman, Teo.
So we felt that we'd better part ways.
As far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell.
And I have never done anything to him because I never had a chance to even talk to him.
One of the previous roommates is out to own that property.
She's like, oh, cousin, I just want to talk to you. I don't want to fight you. And that's what started it.
I want to know what finished it.
Bullied and beaten by her cousin.
Tamika chokes me, and I fall off the chair on the floor, and then we have basically altercation.
But her intimidation doesn't cut it with the judge.
Only one attitude here? That's mine.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I got you. I got you.
Great.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Olivia Smith is suing her cousin-in-law, Tamika Crowford, for an assault and a stolen necklace. Tamika is countersuing also for assault.
Order. All rise. This is case number 215. Judge Party's been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Your husband was incarcerated for a period of time, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And while he was incarcerated, you and the defendant, who is your husband's cousin, became good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then your husband was released from jail, and according to you, came a time when you went to visit his mother.
Yes.
And that was on July 2nd.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you went to visit his mother, the defendant was also there.
Correct.
And the two of you had an altercation. Each of you claimed that the other assaulted them. Nobody was seriously injured, but during the course of that scuffle, whatever it was that you're going to describe to me, you lost your, put your hand down, you lost your necklace. So you want the defendant to be responsible for your necklace and for the assault. Now, why don't you tell me, something happened after your husband was released from prison, which was on what date?
June 10th.
My birthday.
If you say another word, I'm going to dismiss your counterclaim, I'm going to grant her request, and go home. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. Only one attitude here, and that's the attitude that CBS pays for. That's
yes,
mine.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I got you. I got you.
Great. So you had been friends during the time he was incarcerated, and how long had he been incarcerated?
20 months to be exact.
Friends and socialized?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Miss Crawford, at some point, may have said something about your behavior to your husband?
Yes, Your Honor.
Suggesting that you were having too much fun when he was in prison?
Yes.
Who told you about that?
It's my mother-in-law did, originally.
Did she tell that to you on that date?
No.
Or before?
That was before.
So you had that information that Miss Crawford had, you know, sort of tattled on your behavior, but she perceived to be poor behavior, before you arrived at your mother-in-law's house on the 2nd of July.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I assume that before the 2nd of July, you hadn't had a discussion with Miss Crawford about it.
We actually talked about it quite frequently.
Oh, you did?
Before that.
Tell me about the before that.
Well, it was a rumor about me having someone smack my behind when we went out to a club. And I contacted Tamika and we need to get this cleared up before my husband gets home because he's going to be really upset. She told me she didn't say it, and it was just like, my mother-in-law said she did say it. She's saying she didn't say it. It was just a whole back and forth thing. And then once my husband was released, she told my husband some information, like basically we're going out and whatever else she told him, and he was not happy about the situation. So that day, Tamika, I'm so nervous, oh my God, sorry.
On July 2nd.
On July, about information Tamika had told my husband, which she had already told me, like, Olivia, I'm not going to tell on you, like.
On July 2nd, you, your husband, Tamika, and your mother-in-law?
My mother-in-law wasn't there. On July 2nd, it was me and my husband having a discussion about things Tamika had previously said to him.
At your mother-in-law's house?
Yes.
But she was.
Tamika comes over there, and in the middle of it, me going out and such things with her. Like, Tamika, can you please leave? She's like, oh, cousin, I just want to talk to you. I don't want to fight you. Well, I finished it. My necklace, I didn't even notice my necklace was missing until me and my husband left, and he was like, babe, your necklace is gone. So I'm like, my necklace.
And you picked me in my...
Look at me. Look at me.
Focus.
Miss Crawford, your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
Perfect. Go ahead.
So I noticed my necklace is gone, so I called my sister-in-law to ask her, like, have you seen my necklace? And because it's not, I don't have it. I always wear it. It's very sentimental to me. It has a picture of my husband.
I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if it's sentimental to you. All I have to make a determination of today is whether she's responsible for the necklace.
My necklace wasn't on me. I called my sister-in-law to ask her, have she seen my necklace? And she told me, yes, Tamika has my necklace.
Oh, good. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Good. Oh. Step up.
Really?
When did you see Miss Crawford with Miss Smith's necklace?
That day.
After this fight?
Yes.
Tell me where.
I seen it in the bathroom. She was hanging over the bathroom counter like this, and I was looking down the hallway because it was blood all over my mama's floor in the bathroom. And I walked down there
What
and
was
I
there
looked.
blood all over the floor from?
Because she got kicked in the privacy.
Who got kicked?
Her. When she was on top of Olivia, Olivia was on the floor and she kicked her. And Tamika was in the bathroom talking about, like, she was already like, she kicked me in my. So I ended up walking down the hallway and she, like, had blood. It was blood literally all over my mama's floor. And I said, where are you bleeding from? She was hanging over the counter in the light like this, looking, like, with the necklace in her hand. And I was like, I didn't know that it was hers, you know? I didn't know until, I'm telling y'all, I didn't know it was hers in her hand. I wasn't focused on the necklace. I just seen it in her hand. And I'm like, where's all this blood coming from? Asking Tamika. And she said, I don't know, she kicked me in my, you know, and started looking down and stuff. And then she sat on the toilet. And after she sat on the toilet, we ended up talking, and Olivia called me like a few hours later asking me for her necklace, asking if I seen it. And I told her that must have been the necklace Tamika had in her hand.
Okay, good. Now you sit down. Now, did you see a doctor that day?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have any photographs of your injuries?
No, Your Honor.
Great. Okay.
Judge Judy, you are so beautiful.
Just a second.
FYI.
Do you have any receipt for the necklace that your husband purchased?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Wish I actually could be 100% sure of this necklace, of that receipt. In any event, because that receipt says that you purchased the necklace.
My husband, everything.
No. The story that you told me a moment ago was that this necklace is very sentimental to you because your husband bought it for you. And this receipt is in your name.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
What did you do about the house that you were supposed to be maintaining that had a leak with water coming up through the floorboards?
I turned the water supply off to the house.
And you left?
Correct.
Well, that's ridiculous.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Olivia Smith says cousin-in-law Tamika Crowford assaulted her and stole her necklace.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, me and my husband went away. He bought it right before he went away.
It's a good story.
I was with him while I bought it, Your Honor.
It's a good story. Do you have a photograph with you wearing it? If
Yes,
you
I
wore
do,
it
Your
every day,
Honor.
I'd like to see it.
This is other photographs of me wearing it. And
Or just a photograph. That's all I want, just a photograph. Okay, great. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,350, and that's the price of the necklace. It certainly looks like a necklace that's worth $1,350. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say. You have too much attitude. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Olivia is a liar. It's a sad situation that, you know, she would stab me in the back like that. She's just fake. But I'm over it. I'm happy I got the customer necklace to replace it.
Olivia is not what everybody thinks she's out to be.
I'm over her. Just don't say anything to me. Stay out of my way, because it's not going to be nice next time. My husband's not going to be able to stop me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Thomas versus Smith. Step forward.
21-year-old Naretha Thomas is suing her uncle, Timothy Smith, for destroying and stealing her property.
Miss Thomas, how are you related to Mr. Smith?
I'm his niece.
You were living in your grandfather's house, according
Correct.
to what I read, and not here today.
No.
No, ma'am.
How long have you been living with your grandfather?
I wasn't living with him. He lived somewhere else.
You were living in his house?
Correct.
And he wasn't living in the house?
No, he wasn't.
How long had you been living in his house?
Since February of 2014.
Do you pay him rent?
No, I do not.
So he lets you stay in the house?
Correct.
Did you have a rental arrangement with him?
I had a verbal agreement with him.
What was the agreement?
To take care of the home and maintenance the home, and I was free to stay.
When you say you were there to take care of it?
Because when I moved in, it had several damages. It was practically torn up.
So you fixed it?
Correct.
And were supposed to maintain it?
Correct.
Are you working?
Not at the moment. I lost my job over the course of this incident.
So in the year 2015, who were you working for?
McDonald's Incorporated in
So you
Sykes
worked for
Enterprises.
McDonald's? Doing what?
At both places, I was working customer service.
When you say customer service, were you in their restaurant or in their corporate offices?
I was in the restaurant.
Did you work full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
How much were you earning there?
About $2,000 a month over the course of both of my jobs, because I was working both jobs, ma'am.
You have one child?
Yes, I have one child.
How old?
2 years old.
According to what I read, there was a leak in the house that you were supposed to be maintaining.
Correct.
And what happened as a result?
Carpet had been damaged, and I was told that the homeowner's insurance was going to cover the incident.
Well, it should. If there's a leak, homeowner's insurance will cover that.
Right.
That's fine. So the leak was on what date?
It was on August 1st.
Not according to you, not according to him. According to both of you, it was the end of July.
On the 31st is when I had my party. That morning that I woke up, which was the 1st of August, that's when my carpet was damaged.
Where did the pipe burst?
I have no clue.
Well, you're supposed to maintain the house, so you have to know where the pipe burst. If you're maintaining the house, did it break in a bathroom? Did it break in the kitchen? Did it break in a wall in a bedroom? Where did the pipe burst?
The main supply to the house was coming out of the ground, so it was coming from the floor up.
So what did you do?
I turned the water off, and I notified Timothy and my grandfather about what happened. Because
what did you notify Timothy for?
I notified him because I didn't have a place to stay. While the water was off, I couldn't stay there with no water.
This is Timothy?
Correct.
You notified him for what reason?
So that I could have somewhere to be until the problem got fixed.
So you called him to see if you could stay with him?
Right.
Oh, well, that's the reason that you called him.
Right.
And what did he tell you?
I notified him on the 6th.
You notified him on the 6th of August? Well, according to you, it happened on July 31st to August 1st.
I was staying with my mother.
Well, what did you do about the house that you were supposed to be maintaining?
All of my property was in there. I turned off the water supply.
That's not what I asked you. What did you do about the house that you were supposed to be maintaining that had a leak with water coming up through the floorboards?
I turned the water supply off to the house.
And you left?
Correct.
Well, that's ridiculous. What kind of responsible behavior is that?
Because
you made an agreement with the owner of the house, and you said, I will maintain the house and take good care of it if you let me live there for free. And then, when there was a major problem in the house, you packed your daughter up and you left.
No.
That's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Between the 1st and the 6th, you said you lived with your mother. And then you called him on the 6th because clearly something happened with your mother. That's when you called him and said there was a flood in the house. And he said, when? And you said, a week ago.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Naretha Thomas says her uncle, Timothy Smith, purposely allowed her belongings to be destroyed. Timothy is countersuing for emotional distress and defamation.
Go ahead.
I notified the homeowner at the time that the incident happened.
I don't know, because you called Timothy and asked him for a place to stay, and that wasn't until the 6th of August, because between the 1st and the 6th, you said you lived with your mother, and then you called him on the 6th because clearly something happened with your mother, right?
I haven't stayed with my mother since I became an adult.
I don't care whether you had stayed with her or not. That's when you called him and said there was a flood in the house, and he said when, and you said a week ago. Anyway, this is what the case is about. You notified homeowners when she called you?
Judge Judy, the house is my father's house.
Listen to me. Somebody had to notify the insurance company. Who did that?
My father.
And were they notified on the 6th, or were they notified after the 6th?
I assumed that it was before the 6th, but the insurance people came and took a look at it on the 7th.
So the insurance people did come in on the 7th?
Yes, on Friday.
Did you speak to your father?
Yes, ma'am.
When you spoke to your niece?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you tell her that she had to have her stuff out?
I told her on the 3rd of August, and she had me under the impression that my father wanted to make her leave. So I told her that I would have a talk with my father and find out what was really going on with the situation. So when I talked to my father, he had told me that he had to have the stuff out of there in order to show how bad the repairs.
I'd like to see the picture.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there's a lot of water.
Yes, ma'am. And also that pipe, that bust, it didn't just happen. It came from somebody pulling the water spigot from the outside of the house. And I got a picture in there that shows where it was busted. And it didn't just happen just on its own.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Are you talking about this?
Yes, ma'am. From the water hose, where you hook the water hose on the outside, I guess someone was snatching the water hose, snatched it too hard, and it bust the pipe. And it was running water from the inside of the wall, so that's why they didn't know it was leaking until the water started to show.
Okay, so this is what happened. You had a conversation with him. He told you how to get your stuff out of there because they had to do repairs. And ultimately, what he did was, since you didn't come and get your stuff, he put your stuff outside.
No, that's not correct.
Well, tell me what happened to your stuff.
What happened to my stuff is I have...
Don't show me have. What happened to your stuff? If what I said is not correct, I read the papers.
What happened to my stuff was Timothy came into my home and he removed all my property and he put it outside, basically left for garbage. Okay? Both of them have pickup trucks.
Just a second. Are you trying to tell me that they had no conversation with you, who was supposed to be maintaining the house?
Correct.
About people having to come in and, in effect, dismantle the entire house?
We had an arrangement, ma'am. As soon as it happened, my grandfather was there actually washing his truck. That's how the water got busted. The case is not about the home because that's been covered. The case is about my property that they put outside.
I know exactly what the case is about. Listen to me carefully. What were they supposed to do with your stuff?
Put it in the storage.
That's not their responsibility. That would be your responsibility before you go with your mother.
To help me.
Before you go with your mother, you take your stuff, responsible girl, and put your stuff in storage.
In which they told me they were going to handle that.
Just a second. Don't believe you. Zero belief in what you just told me, that they were going to handle taking your stuff out of the house for no reason. You, a non-paying tenant who lives there with a child who was supposed to maintain the property, that they were going to tell you, listen, we're going to take your stuff out and we're going to put it in a storage unit for you.
The storage is the first month free.
Is that what you
said?
My
uncle told me he trusted, yes, he did. He told me he was going to take my stuff and put it in storage for me.
Don't believe you. Sorry.
Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, now, you should have taken your own stuff and put it in storage.
Well, I was going to do that, but I was at work, ma'am. I had a full-time job during the course of this taking place.
What? So you're the only adult who has a job?
Correct.
Do what you have to do.
Can I show you what was happening to my stuff, ma'am?
Don't care. That's your responsibility. It's your stuff. It's your responsibility to take care of. You have a child. You take care of a child. You have to work because you have yourself and a child. Great. You have to work You have to work 2 jobs because you have 2 people to take care of, and you don't pay rent. That's what you have to do. And if you have property that's in a flooded house, you make arrangements to put it in storage if it means anything to you. Your case is dismissed. Likewise, your counterclaim, which is stupid. Goodbye. Thank you.
Well, excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Worked over by this mechanic?
You paid him thousands of dollars to fix a car that you paid $1,500 for. How much did she pay you all together?
$1,700.
Next Judge Judy.
The whole entire house.
But she had no storage. She had nowhere to take them.
They were supposed to be taking it to storage while I was at work, but instead, they put it outside.
I offered my help. She had nowhere to take